let's go ahead and break down. This is just a really fun song to play. This is Jingle Bell Rock, and the version I'm going to be showing you is based off more of the Hall & Oates version, although the original version of Jingle Bell Rock is fine too. What I did was I kind of studied a bunch of different versions of it and then kind of compiled it the best way that I thought it would work for you to be able to play it with any of those recorded songs, but then also to be able to do it on your own as well. So let's take a look at the very beginning of this, and this really is based off the Hall & Oates version of this. G.E. Smith is the one that's playing this. So what you're going to be doing is you're going to go to the 14th fret of the first string and the 15th fret of the second string, and I'm using my first and second fingers, and you're going to strum that 3 times. And then what you're going to do is go to the 14 and the 14 this time. I use my first finger for both, and you strum both of them 3 times again. And you'll notice there's a little bit of a swing. So try and add that into your rhythm as you're playing. Okay, now we're going to go back to the 14 and the 15 like we had before. We're going to play that once, and then we're going to take our pinky or our third finger. I'm going to use my pinky, and I'm going to go to the 17th fret of the first string. So I'm playing the 15 on the second string both times. Now we'll get into the down and up strumming a little bit in just a second here, but let's just get the pattern. Okay, then what we're going to do is we're going to drop down to the 10th fret. We're going to press on both the first and second strings. And then we're going to play the 12th fret, both first and second strings. Okay, and what I do is when I play the 10s, I play with my first finger. When I play the 12s, I use my third finger and my pinky because I'm going to be doing a little bit of bending here. So it's easier for me to use 2 different fingers, but you certainly could use 1 finger if you wanted to. So you have... Okay. And now what we're going to do is we're going to bend those. Just a little bit up, and then we're going to bring them back down. Okay, so we play these 10s, we play these 12s, we bend the 12s, bring them back, go back to the 10s. Now if you want to play them all down strums, that would be just fine too. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to use the third finger. And again, you could use something else if it works better. But I'm going to use the third finger to press on the second and third strings at the 12th fret. Okay, so I have... Okay, now you see right there I'm using my third and my pinky. You could use those, or just your third finger, whichever one you'd rather do. Like that, or... like that. Whatever fingering works better for you. Okay, so section number 1, we've got... Then we'll call this section 2. We're going to move down and go... Okay, and again, decide what fingers you want for these. You could use your third finger for both of those groups, or you could use your third and pinky, whatever works. Then we're going to end... right here on the 10th fret of the second string and the 11th fret of the third string. And I'm going to be using my first and second fingers for this. See that? Now, in the Hall & Oates version, it sounds like what he's doing is going up here. He's playing that higher octave. So that little walk down... And again, there's a million different ways you can play this on the guitar, obviously. I'm playing 10 on the second string, 12 on the third string, 11 on the third string, and then 9 on the third string. So I'm using my first finger to my third finger, and my middle finger, and my first finger. But again, whatever fingering is going to work good for you is what you want to use. See that? Now you could go... You could stay on one string. Again, always remember to edit these to your comfort. So it's something that, number 1, you can play very well, and number 2, you can memorize really well. What I'm trying to do is what we call stay positionally. I'm trying to stay in one place. Just makes it easier for me to memorize. Okay, so we have the first section, second section, and then the little tag at the end. Now, you'll see that written, and in the original version, it's played down here. And you could play it down there too. There you'd be playing the 5th string open, which is A, and then G, F sharp, and then E. So you have 0, 3, 2, 0. You could do that. Again, you could play 5, 3, 2, 0. You're going to get the same thing, doesn't matter. So, whichever one you like most, okay? So there's really 3 sections to this Hall & Oates version of this. And I'm going to embellish on the solo just a little bit to give you something a little more fun to play in the middle, along with the actual solo that he's doing, at least what I think it is. But we're going to fill in the spaces with the chords too, so you have the whole thing to play, okay? So as a whole, here's what the beginning sounds like. And then you got your walk down, whichever octave. Now what we're going to do is we're going to head down. We're going to play a D, just a plain old D major chord. Then we're going to play a D6, or D major 7, excuse me. And then a D6 chord. Okay? Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to have you follow along. If you have a pencil and a piece of paper, write these down as best you can. Okay, so we've got your D chord here. Then I'm going to go to my D major 7, which is just 3 in a row. So it's the same 3 strings that the D chord is on. I can strum all 4 though, bottom 4 strings. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and play the D6 chord. And what that means is the 2nd string is going to be open. So it's like at the outside of a D chord, but I'm leaving that middle string open there. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is drop down to what looks like an F sharp minor. Okay, so I don't know if it really functions that way, but it sounds great. So I'm going. You see, kind of looks like a D major 7 with F sharp in the bass, but again, I don't want to get into the theory of it. I just want to show you how to play it so it sounds really neat. Okay, so I'm going D. Okay, so there what I'm doing on that last chord, I'm pressing on 2, 2, and 2 on the first 3 strings, and then I'm playing a 4 on the 4th string. Okay, so that's the way you're going to start off all of these melodies. And remember to keep that swing going as you're playing. Okay, now I'm going to go back to the D. And then right there I'm going to go to an E flat diminished chord. And what that means is I'm playing 1 on the 4th string, 2 on the 3rd string, 1 on the 2nd string, and 2 on the 1st string. You can see my fingering here. I got 1 and 3 here, and 2 and 4 right here. And I'm just playing the bottom 4 strings. Okay, so I've got D, major 7, 6, to this F sharp minor looking thing here, right? And then D to the diminished, and then E minor to A or A7, it doesn't matter. I'm going to use a lot of A7s in my version of this just because they sound really nice with Jingle Bell Rock. So I'm going to go to an A7 chord, but if you want to go to a plain old A, it would be just fine. So I have D major, to the major 7, 6, F sharp minor. I'm just playing the bottom half here. Okay, so I still have that kind of D major 7 sound right there. Then I go D to diminished, E flat diminished right there. And then E minor to A7. Now I just keep going. E minor, A7, E minor, A7. Now I'm going to go to E minor and stay there. That's now the jingle hop has begun. I'm going to pull up here and I'm going to play 5 on the 4th string, and then 6 and 6 on the 3rd and 2nd, and then 5 on the 1st string. Now there's lots of different ways to play voicings. I just want to show you some of the ones that I found that I really liked. Okay. So it's still an A. Okay. With a flatted 5th is what it would be. Okay, now again, I don't really want to worry about the theory. I just want you to have some fun and play some Christmas music here. So we've got D, major 7, 6, then D diminished, here it comes, and E minor, A7, now slowing, going, shows we keep going back and forth, then we stay on E minor, Now there's lots of different voicings that you could use here. Some people just go to an A7 and it's fine. Okay. I've even seen like an A augmented, which means you could play like an A chord, but instead of using the second fret of the fourth string, you could go to the second or third fret of the fourth string. Sounds kind of pretty too. I like this one better, but they're all functional. So I don't want to confuse you, but I just want to give you some different ideas of things that you can do. Because if you try and look up the sheet music for this, you're going to go, wow, there's 500 different ways to play this. And there really is. There's all kinds of different things that you can do. Okay, so let's go back now to the beginning of this verse. The intro we've got, you can work on that as much as you need to. Let's do the verse together. So remember, we're doing this walk down of D. So we have D, major 7, 6th, which we take the second string, we take the finger off, whatever finger you're using. And then we're going to go to this bottom of this F sharp minor chord here. Okay. And then we've got D to the diminished, to E minor, to A7. So think of it as groups of 4 chords. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to go snowing and blowing, right? So E minor to A7, E minor to A7. There's the next group of 4. And now you've got 2, 4. We just stay there. To the to the next chord. So there's lots of chord changes in this song. And again, you can write them down if you want to, but I'm going to try and help you to memorize patterns here. So D, 7, 6, bottom of the F sharp minor chord there, and then D diminished, E minor to A7, and E minor 7, or to A7, excuse me, E minor, A7, now we stay on E minor. Now we're going to start all over again. Jingle bell. Diminish just like before. E minor to A7. Now we're on In the Frosty Air, and it changes here. We're going to go to an E major chord this time, to an A or A7, whichever one you like. I'm going to go to the A7, to the D. Okay, then we move on to the What a Bright Time, and we're going to get to that in a second, but I want to make sure you have this. So, first part is your beginning. Then your little walk down, whether you go, or you go, whichever one you want, then we hit the verse. Now, there's a lot of chords, like I said, so it's really important that you think about the pattern in which these chords are moving. You don't have to get fancy with strumming and all that kind of stuff. Just visualize the patterns. There's the first part. The second part. Okay, ended on A7. Third part. Fourth part. Start all over again, but the fourth part is going to be different. The first 3 are the same. So you have second part, third part, fourth part is different. The fourth part goes E major to A or A7 to D. Okay, now what we're going to do is go to G. You could go to a G bar chord, you could go to a G open chord, it doesn't matter. Okay, What a Bright Time. Then we're going to go to a D diminished chord. Okay, so what that is this E flat diminished that you did before, this one like this. We're just going to take that chord that you played earlier, and we're just going to scoot back 1 fret, which means that you only have 2 fingers left. Okay, so you can use these 2 like before if you want to, or you can use these. I usually use these 2 instead. So I'm using my first and second fingers pressing on the first fret of the third and first strings. And then my fourth string and my second string are open. So I'm going, what a bright time. It's the right time. Whoops, sorry. Then to D, to rock. Right there. Okay, you with me so far? So right now you've got your G, to your diminished, your D diminished, to D. Okay, now what you're going to do is you're going to go to E or E7, whichever one you like. I'm going to use E7 again because it sounds kind of fun with this Christmassy sound. So I'm going to go to E7, then A7. To go riding in a one-horse sleigh. So we're going to stop there. Okay? So now, what a bright time. Let's take a look at what we've got here in groups of 4. We've got G diminished, D diminished right there, then to D. So we stay on D for 2, right? So we have G for 1, D diminished for 2 for the second one, then D is the third chord, D is the fourth chord. I'm not really considering measures. I'm not really worried about that. I'm just trying to think about patterns of 4 so it's easy for me to memorize in my head as I'm playing, you see? And then I've got E or A7, which is what I use. Okay, so we're almost there. Okay, so let's review everything. You play with me if you've got your guitar handy. Let's go back. We're going to skip the intro for now. We're going to go to the verse. So we have D. There's your second movement. There's your third one. Fourth one. Okay, second section of that part. We go D diminished, E minor, to A. The third part of that is E minor to A or A7, whatever you want. E minor to A7. Fourth section of that is E minor to this A up here, right, with the flatted 5. Okay, then we're going to go, now we're on the second section of the first verse. Okay, jingle bell, jingle bell, diminished, E minor, A7. Now we get to the fourth section of that, which is the E major to A or A7, whatever you want, to D. That brings us to the What a Bright Time, which is the G, to the D diminished, to the D major chord for 2. Then we're going to go to E7 and stay there. Then end on A7. To go riding in a one-horse, right? Now we're going to go back to the verse. Now we're on Giddy Up, right? Just like the beginning. But what do we do here? Okay. It changes. So what we're going to do is we're going to change that up. We're going to use the first section just like we did before. To take a different path. We're going to go D. That's the jingle around the clock part. We're going to go D to F sharp minor to B7. Okay, so we didn't head over to that diminished. We went to a different place now. So we've got giddy up, jingle bells, pick up your feet, jingle around the clock right there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go to a G major bar chord. G minor. Kind of cool, huh? And then you're going to go E7, A7, D. And that's the G. That's going to be that part. Okay? So we've got, here it comes, different path. And G major, G minor, then E7, A7, D. Now it does the exact same thing all the way to the rest of the song, right? Other than the solo, which I'll show you in a second here. Now, when you get to the very end, they just keep repeating that. That's the G, that's the G. So you just keep doing the E7 to the A7 thing in the middle. I know it's a lot, but if you break it down, it's really not that bad. You just have to get used to each little section as you go. Okay, now let's take a look at the solo. Okay, now the solo, the actual Hall & Oates solo starts off with this. That little thing right there. And then it kind of takes a break. Then there's a little slide in there because there's people singing in the background and you'll hear it. But let me show you what's happening there, and then I'm going to show you how you can embellish this a little bit to make it a little more fun if you don't have people singing in the background other than maybe in your brain, right? So what G.E. Smith, what it sounds like he's doing is he's going like this. He's playing a D, so he's playing 10, 10, 11. So he's going, okay. And then we're going to 9, 10, 11. So we're going, so it's just, that's the note that's changing. Okay, then we're going to go, right there, we're going to go 10 and 11 on the second and third strings. We're going to go to the 12s, and then back to the 10, 11. So I'm barring with my third finger, and then I'm going to add my ring finger on the 12th fret of the 4th string. And then I can strum all of them together, like that. Okay, now again, I'm not positive, but it sounds pretty close. Okay, then he stops while the people are singing, and then you hear this that little slide in there. And what's happening is you could press on 14th fret of 4, 3, 2, and 1. Any of those would be fine. There's just a little slide from 12 or 14 to 12. Okay, and that's all there is. And then you've got the lick. That thing, okay? So again, I'm going to fill in the spaces to give you something a little bit more in case you'd actually be performing this for somebody. But let's just see what we've got so far. So we've got our, then, okay? So remember, we're doing 12 or 10, 10, 11, 9, 10, 11, and then right here, I'm just playing the second and third strings, going 10, 11 to the two 12s, back to the 10, 11. And then I'm just tagging that 12th fret of the 4th string on. And then they sing, and you hear the little, and you'll hear it in the song. We're just sliding from 14 to 12. Okay, and then we got this lick. And I think that's what it is. So you're going, so you're on 14 and 16 on the 3rd string using your 1st finger and 3rd finger probably. So I'm playing the 14, I'm playing the 16, and then I'm doing a pull-off. And then I'm plucking the 14 again. Okay, so that's the first one. Then you're going to play 17 to 14 as a pull-off on the 2nd string with your pinky probably. And then I'm going to play the 14 on the 3rd string. So I'm going to stay barred over these two strings when I go, so I can go back to that 14. And then I'm going to reach all the way up to this 19 up here, and then this 17. And at that point, if I need to take my bar off, it's okay. You don't have to, but if you wanted to, you could. Then you're going to start all over and do that again. The only thing is you're going to skip the 2nd string and just play the 19, 17. So you have, it looks like this. Let me play it slow. And then it starts all over. So it just skips the 2nd string. Everything's the same except for that string that's missing. Kind of fun. And again, I take my 1st finger off because it's easier for me to add vibrato and move up positionally. But if you wanted to leave it down there, you certainly could. You know, again, just whatever fingers are comfortable for you. Then he ends with some sort of thing that sounds like this. Okay, and right there what I'm doing is I'm just sliding from 17 to 19. 3 times. And then I'm going to play 17, 14, and then 15 on the 2nd string. So, Okay? Now, if you were performing this, it sounds great. There's just some stuff missing because you're not playing in between. You're going... Right? So there's stuff missing. So what I thought would be kind of fun is if we just threw some stuff in between there so you could do something else. Right? So you might go... Okay? Then we're going to go like this. Right? Because there's nothing in there, so we could just as well add it in. So what I'm doing right there is I'm pressing on these 2 7s here, and I'm playing the 9 on the first string. Then I'm going to go to a D7 chord, and I'm going to play the whole chord except for the first string. So you hear this melody right here. And then I'll play that separately. So you're hearing... See, so it still has a vocal part. Okay, now this is not in the Hall & Oates one, but you could add it in. Right here. Now we're going to add in this. Okay, so right there what I'm doing is I'm playing 7, 8, 9. And I'm still adding this 9th fret, but now I'm doing it with my pinky if you were using something else. And I'm just going to an A7. You know, wherever you want it, it doesn't matter. Then that would lead right into it fill the space that you're missing right there. So it's just an option. You don't have to add it. It's not in the song. It would just give you something kind of fun to do. So if you're sitting around with a bunch of people and it's Christmas time and you want to play this thing, you don't have to, you know, feel uncomfortable because there's nothing to do. You could just add that in. Sorry. There you go. And then you end with your... Okay, just kind of fun to add in. Okay, now we're at the end of the song. We already went through all of that, right? What a bright time, it's the right time to rock. We already went through all that stuff, okay? So now we're at the very end of the Hall & Oates one, and he does this. Little thing at the end. So let me just show you what that tag is, and you got the whole song. So we have 14 and 15 again, just like the beginning. But when we go to those 2 14s, we're just going to stop. And then we're going to move on to... And we're going to shorten that just a little bit. We're going to play the 2 12s, or 2 10s, excuse me. The 2 12s, bend it, but then we're done. Then we're going to go back to the 10. Then I'm going to go to the 2 12s, like I did before, and then the 10 11 on the 2nd and 3rd strings like I did before as well. So I'm just shortening it. It's got the same stuff that the intro had, it's just shorter. And then we're going to end with just a little tag chord there off of a D. So what I'm playing there is I'm playing 9, 9, 10, 10. You could use 2 fingers if you wanted to. You could use 3 fingers, whatever works for you. Again, I'm not concerned about the theory behind everything right now. I just want you to have some fun with the song. And as I said before, there's a million different ways of playing this. So if you want to readjust some things to make it a little easier for yourself or easier to remember or whatever it might be, that's awesome. Okay? So that is in our entire song of Jingle Bell Rock. Okay, we've got our intro, we got our solo, we've got a little addition to the solo that we could do if we wanted to make it a little more fun for ourselves. We've got our outro, and then we've got our chordal structures for our verses in between, which actually are kind of a lot of work on their own, aren't they? So take care and practice hard and have a wonderful day and a wonderful Christmas if you celebrate that, and we'll speak to you soon.